For those who just want to get straight to the point and want to know if the Fluance RT85 turntable is any good, I will save you the time and tell you right now to go check out the reviews on Amazon. With almost 900 reviews and an average rating of 5 stars, you don't need a rocket scientist to draw a conclusion. Do a quick search on YouTube, and every YouTuber and their neighbors have given this turntable a thumbs up. So what else is there for me to say? I guess I'll approach this video asking this question. Can this $500 USD Fluance RT85 turntable replace my $1,400 Rega P3 turntable? But with a little asterisk. Let me explain. Now, for those who have been following me, you don't see turntables showcased in my video frequently. The reason is because I'm always testing DACs, so I don't have time to use my Rega P3 turntable. Now, given I rarely use it, I've always wanted to replace it with something cheaper. So when Fluance reached out to me asking if I would be interested in trying their turntable, the RT85, I told myself, I don't expect it to be as good as my Rega P3, well, which costs almost 3 times the price, but if it's good enough, then I don't mind taking a slight performance hit and buy it to replace the Rega P3. Keep in mind, I only use it for casual listening. You see, I have about 100 LPs. Yes, a drop in the bucket compared to some of you. And I tell you, vinyl is a bit like cigarettes. Once you experience it, even if you have quit, there's always this urge wanting to experience it at least once in a while. I did try to get some cheap turntables hoping they would satisfy my once in a while vinyl urge. For example, I got this $150 Ion USB turntable. But you know what? These ultra budget turntables are more like a nicotine patch. They cannot satisfy my once in a while vinyl craving. So, is the Fluance RT85N able to replace my Rega P3 in the context that I only use my turntable once in a while and I don't need the best of the best performance? My audio buddies, let's talk about it today. Now, Fluance did not tell me I can keep this unit after the review, nor did they tell me they will pay me. If they do, good for me. If they don't, that's okay too. 70% of my videos are free work after all. That's why I really appreciate my Patreons for supporting me. Now, before we start, if you are looking for a light for your turntable, this $59 Uber light is pretty good. Now, you can change the color as well as the intensity. Now, I introduced this light a while ago, and now I see it used by a few YouTubers. I was also quite happy to see them used in some of the rooms at the Montreal Audio Show. Now, they let me keep this light after my last video, so that's why I figure, I'll take 1 minute to talk about them out of appreciation. No, they're not paying me anything extra for this video. The Fluance RT85 retails for $499 USD. Comes with an acrylic platter and uses a belt drive system. Now, I love the fact it has a dust cover. Now, I really don't understand why some turntables don't come with a dust cover. For example, my first turntable, the Marantz TT15, I had to look for an aftermarket dust cover and there was nothing under $200. We should boycott all turntables that don't include a dust cover. Anyways, I think the highlight of this turntable is that it comes with a $200 Autophone 2M Blue Moving Magnet cartridge. Now, for those of you who need a calculator to calculate everything, $200 is almost half the price of this turntable. So just that fact alone should tell you you're getting a lot of value from this turntable, especially those of you who believe that the cartridge accounts for 70% of the sound of a turntable. You turntable experts, put in the comments how much percent do you think the cartridge accounts for the sound quality in a turntable? I'm curious. So how does the Fluance RT85 sound? The top end is detailed and transparent. Some might find it slightly on the bright side, so equipment matching is important. The mid-range is clear, the bass is fast, but a little bit on the light side, which will make you focus more on the top end. That clarity will catch a lot of your attention. The result is a presentation that is very airy and spacious, a bit like B&W and Focal speakers, where it is more about clarity. Dynamics and instrument separation is good enough. You have depth in the soundstage as well as width. In short, yeah, that's how I describe it. A very lively sound. Now, to help me evaluate this turntable, I had two of my audio buddies, Russ and Mark, help me out because most of my other audio buddies are into digital. So let's talk about the negatives first. Now for Mark, he wished the feel of the tone arm was better. There's a big gap compared to his own turntable, well, which costs many times more. Now the reason I bring this up is because for some of you, if the feel of the turntable is important, then you have to be careful with your expectations. This is also true about its finishing, its body. It is amazing, nicely built for the price, but please do not have unrealistic expectations. Next, if you're someone who is looking for a turntable that has that smooth analog top end with no rough edges, well, this turntable leans more towards sharpness than smoothness. So ideally, you want to pair it with a smooth sounding setup. Finally, for the best result, in my opinion, your system should be either bass heavy or have at least decent bass to pair with. Because as I mentioned before, the bass is a bit on the light side. Okay, now let's move on to the positives. So the fact that there is a lot of clarity makes a lot of older recording sound livelier. I can feel a bit more air when compared to my P3. When I put it in a decent system, for example with the IFI Zen phono stage or even Schiit Mani with the VTL Tube vintage preamp, the Decware Torii 5 power amp and the Harbeth M30 speakers, I can tell you it sounds very good. The top end is clean and smooth. Yeah, remember I said it leans towards like the sharper side, but if you have a smooth setup like mine, the overall result is very pleasant. Remember I said bass is a bit light? Well, not in this setup. Plenty of bass. So that's why I said if you get the equipment matching right, this turntable is quite capable. Now when I paired it with my Silverline Sonata speakers, okay, that is where I wish it has a bit more bass because as I've said in my past videos, my Silverline Sonata speakers' greatest weakness is it lacks a bit of bass. When paired with the Pearl Acoustics Sibelius, the matching was balanced. You see, Sibelius has a smooth top end or neutral top end. The Fluance RT85 has a sharp top end, so it balances. Sibelius has strong bass. Fluance is a bit light on the bass. It balances. My point is, you can get quite good results with the right system combination. My audio buddy Russ and Mark did find the Fluance pretty decent, especially once they found out about the price. Yeah, no complaints. And they're used to way more expensive turntables. How does it compare to my Rega P3? We all love to vote for the underdog. The Rega P3 has a smoother top end, a clearer mid-range, and stronger bass. I do prefer the Rega P3 because it is more analog sounding, but it is more than, well, it's almost triple the price. Now having said that, the Fluance is more fun to listen to, especially with some old recordings, because as I mentioned before, the livelier top end. So, can the Fluance replace my P3? Given that I rarely listen to vinyl and I just need it for my occasional fix. The answer is it depends on my upcoming Galleon TS120 amplifier that I'm about to bring to market. If the tone control works well with this Fluance, then yes, it can be a possibility. The problem is the tone control on my upcoming amp does not use traditional values. The frequencies I chose to affect with tone control are targeted to solve listening fatigue as opposed to simply boosting treble and bass. So I don't know if it will work well with this turntable. Having said that, given that I was able to get this turntable to sound very good with some of my setups, I might still consider it. Now I would have, for sure, if it had worked very well with my reference speaker, the Silverline Sonata. Well, I'll find out in 2 weeks when I get my amplifier. Really excited about that. The takeaway is that the RT85 is good enough that it is a possibility. This in itself is a major accomplishment. Now for the rest of you who are wondering if you should give it a try, Come on guys, it is on Amazon. You have the best protection ever. So if you're ever considering a $500 turntable, you can't go wrong to give it a try. My only advice is to let it break in. The first few hours with it, yeah, you'll find it pretty bright, but it will tone down. By the way, can you guys put in the comment section, what turntable do you have? I'm really curious, and I bet I've discovered all kind of gems out there. And also, if you don't have one, what is stopping you from getting one? So let's wrap it up now. I love vinyl. I got to listen to amazing vinyl systems in my audio journey. There was this audiophile I used to visit. He had this best of the best turntable. I mean, do I buy a car or do I buy a turntable kind of turntable? It was like 50 grand with the phono stage. Every time after I listen to it, when I get home and listen to my DAC, I want to burn my DAC. Every audiophile that I know who got a chance to hear that turntable is like, oh my god, you can't beat that. So I know what good vinyl sounds like. There's something special about vinyl, right? The bass just feels more palpable, and that analog sound with a lack of sharp edges is just so pleasant to my ears. The space and the air have a very unique feel when I compare vinyl to digital. Perhaps a bit like comparing solid state to tubes. Both are good, but there is a difference. Now, not all of us can afford expensive turntables, and yes, I know a lot of you want a taste of it at an affordable price. The Fluance RT85 is audiophile level gear in the sense that you will get good clarity, a 3D soundstage, decent instrument separation, you know, all the audiophile jargon, and it is a solution you should look at especially if you value clarity in the presentation. Perhaps in my unique situation where I only need a turntable for my occasional fix, it can replace my Rega P3, but I will only know in about 2 weeks when I get my new amplifier. Perhaps there will be a follow-up on that, but for now, yeah, I think that's about it. By the way, there's no sound demo today because, you know, I don't have my demo track on vinyl. So with that, I'll see you next time.